My name is Aradhya, and what I present before you is basically a true story which is penned up into a poem. So now, without wasting much of the time, there was a friend of mine. I knew him ever since we were 9. There was laughter, there was love. Oh yes, we had the best of time. Everything was like incomplete without him. But then just in some time, my fairy tale gets cursed. We were now 12, and sadly, no more in his heart did I dwell. Then now came the princess of his fate. She was our classmate. I was forgotten and replaced. All the indelible memories were erased. What happened next speaks of unluck at its best. My former friend goes mad in love, and maybe this is where the story should end. But destiny decided something else. I could see his grades falling, but I could not stop him from walking on a path where he was losing himself in search of that princess. He went into a mess. Stop, I said, this isn't the age. But he just didn't want to turn this page. He just didn't want to turn this page. And then we didn't talk. Not for a day or two, but for years it went on so. I thought it was just the talks that we lacked. But sadly, there was nothing that we now had. I never thought that love can take you to such an extent that you make your friends feel like they never meant important. Well, that's not the end of this tale, ladies and gentlemen. Years passed, classes changed. But this dumb soul of mine was still lost in thinking that we were still friends. A stupid girl could not take us to an end. Captivated with these thoughts, I tried rejoining the dots. But all I ever got was some lessons his actions taught. And then one fine morning of my life, I received a text. Is this your ID on Instagram or someone else? Well, then I find that a fake ID has been made of mine, but then some really bad content was posted, and that I felt should be nicely roasted. So I find that account and we start to chat. Well, that's the talk we had. I asked, who are you? He said he was Aradhya Dixit. Well, who am I then? The heated conversation continued to be. It took me time to prove that I was the real me. And then there was anger, there was rage, and finally abuses were on stage. Until I get a text that said, Dixit. Well, this was an unbearable shit. Unbearable because only that one friend of mine called me this. This wasn't the only proof I had. There were bundles of proof and I went mad. I picked up the phone and called him right away. But why would he say that yes, it was him? I was in a word of despair. Was posting that shit about me, that too by him fair. Did it not hurt while writing about someone so dear? Dear, I wonder if I ever were. And then my doubts get clear enough when his mother calls me and says this stuff. Child, please excuse this time. I promise you'll never have to face again a situation of this kind. And if you ever do, then call me at that moment and I'll sort it out the very second. But what I was thinking meanwhile, how could you be so sure that the miscreant won't do it anymore? And if he ever does, why should I tell you? And then I messaged that guy with tears in my eyes. If this is really you, then please stop texting lies. Just call me once and accept. You know I love you, don't make me regret. And then I get a reply. I'll delete everything. But you forget all this and I shall too. I repeated my question. Is this really you? The account was then deleted. I constantly looked for a signal to believe that it wasn't him. But my watery eyes couldn't find one. Everything was blurred. Every belief staggered. My heart lay in 100 pieces. It was all scattered. That night, I couldn't sleep. But with open eyes, I saw a nightmare. They said friendship is a golden chain. Then how could my gold rust? How could I bear that broken trust? And then somewhere in the middle of nowhere, I was droning in a sea of infidelity. I feared that the water will soon enter my veins. It will clog and clutter up my brain. I wished to relax and breathe and feel just the way I did before. But in the core of my heart, I felt betrayed, cheated, and succeeded. I swirled in a tornado of questions. How could he do that? Why did he? We were friends, man, weren't we? And then he never called, nor did he ever turn back. He and I were perhaps never we. And then he just left me with a question. How could he? We were friends, weren't we? Ladies and gentlemen, I could not give this poem a name because a few words couldn't have the power to describe that incident. Truly insane. Thank you. Oh, yeah.